welcome to my channel on the best of fantasy. This is the week that was, and it has been quite some time since I filmed an episode of the week that was. So really it's the weeks that were, and they were some delightful weeks. I've had a lot of fun on the channel, but I want to start with some publishing news just to keep you guys in the loop. The first thing I want to say is thank you. A humongous thank you to everybody who has bought and read and reviewed The Way of Edan. I am so incredibly grateful. Even just to hear people's reactions has been so gratifying, and the fact that some people have really resonated with the book is just incredible to me. It's incredible to have the story out there, to have people reading it, reviewing it. So thank you for your reviews on all kinds of venues, including Goodreads and Amazon, and there are bloggers out there. The latest review to come out was from Grimdark Magazine, which was incredible. So I'm just really incredibly grateful to everyone. Thank you. Thank you so much for all those reviews. It's a wonderful thing to be able to share the story with all of you. And hopefully some people are enjoying the story. And I'm having a great time working on book 2 right now, The Prophet of Edan. Just about there at the last, one quarter or so of editing and formatting. So I'm very much on track for having The Prophet of Edan out on June 21st. June 21st, that's the release date that I have set. And this time I'm hopeful that I'll be able to get everything done well ahead of time. Last time things took a little bit longer than I expected, particularly with Ingram Spark, but it worked out in the end just fine. And I think we'll be there again. This time I've seen some prototypes of the cover, and it's looking fantastic. The cover is coming along great, and as I said, the editing has been wonderful. I'm really enjoying. I probably enjoy a little too much being lost in the story, being immersed in the world, and I am hoping that folks are going to love The Prophet of Edan. I also want to mention that you might have noticed, or I don't know, maybe not, but either way, I am doing 2 videos per week nowadays instead of 3, just because I have been so busy with work and trying to get my books all done and ready for everybody. So it has been just too much to be able to do 3 a week, and I was finding myself a little bit too tired to keep putting out 3 a week. So here I am doing 2 a week, and I think I'm going to stick with that schedule for the foreseeable future. That means I'm just a little bit less present, but I'm still here, everybody. Still doing the things that I love. Still doing the discussions primarily, but I have the occasional review, and I'll be talking about some of those coming up in a bit as well. Just so you're aware, I'm aiming for 2 a week nowadays, and I enjoy all of your comments on the videos that I put out, no matter how many they are per week. So also I want to mention that there's another book that I want to promote, and this is one I'm very excited about. This is a project that was put together by the booktuber Jeremy Fee, who is also a writer, and he is serving as the editor of an anthology of fantasy short stories, all of them written by our fellow booktubers. And I'm really excited to announce this, and maybe some of you heard about it before already, but it's called Half Human Heroes, and I'll put a link into its Goodreads page, or maybe you could check out Jeremy's channel, Jeremy Fee. He has talked about it. I'll try to link a video of his about it. But essentially, it is an anthology of short stories that are fantasy and are related to the theme of half-human heroes, hence the title. And Jeremy reached out to me quite some time ago and asked if I would write the foreword for this book, and I was incredibly honored to do that. And so the book is coming out on May 15. And also, wonderful thing, Jeremy decided that any profits from the book will go toward charity. So that is another great reason to check out Half Human Heroes. Support all of your fellow booktubers and their storytelling, but also it's going toward charity. And so I hope there will be some great stories in there, but I had a wonderful time writing that forward. And I'm sure I'll be talking about some of the stories in there as well in the future on the channel with some of my fellow booktubers who have contributed to that book. So I am also excited to tell you about all the things I did on the channel in case you missed them. And really the main reason for this is for me to share the thumbnails that I made for these videos. Because a lot of the fun I have on the channel is making silly thumbnails. Which is just, it's okay. You're never too old to make silly thumbnails, in my opinion. So beginning with a Dear Dr. Fantasy episode that I did with Kate over from the Literary Apothecary, and had a wonderful time talking to Kate, especially about her master's, her MFA, her Master of Fine Arts in writing. And so that is something I'm sure that many people on this platform think about, maybe doing an MFA, all the creative writing that we want to do here, and to have a formal training in that. It was really great to get Kate talking about her experience with an MFA program, which she has done, and is currently doing a Master of Library Science. So it was a lot of wisdom to share there. I also did a spring TBR video, and everyone knows by now, I think, unless you're very new to the channel, that my seasonal TBR videos are highly aspirational, meaning that's my way of saying I'm probably not going to get to all of these books. I tend to be a little bit like a kid in a candy store when it comes to all the books that I want to read. So yeah, but the philosophy behind that is, of course, that if you aim high, you'll get somewhere, which is usually what happens around here. So that's good. I'm also very pleased to say that I had a couple discussions that I hosted on the channel with Murphy about the manga Vagabond, which we are coming to the end of. We trade every week. One week the discussion's on my channel, the next week it's on hers. And so we are coming near to the end of the series, as it is. I know it is unfinished, but we are coming to the end of what has been written. And it's bittersweet because I'm sad that we're coming to the end of this really incredible journey. I've discovered that I really do love some manga. I had a great time with Vinland Saga, and now Vagabond has been such a positive experience for me with many themes that I just absolutely love. And some beautiful artwork. It's been a great experience. I'm also very pleased to announce that we will be continuing. And if you missed the announcement, the next manga that we are doing is going to be Monster. So I'm really excited to be doing that. And that's going to be up in June at some point. Early to mid-June, we'll be getting started with Monster. So yeah, good stuff ahead. Also, I had on the channel a video, really which was given to me by the wonderful Ravnskjold, who is, if you don't know already, one of the best composers you can find on YouTube, especially if you love medieval type music, fantasy type music, tavern music, pirate music, all kinds of great stuff that Ravnskjold is composing over there and putting out on his channel for you to enjoy. I personally listen to his channel all the time now while I'm editing, and I find his music very inspirational. He gave me a wonderful a tune to share with everybody. In fact, it's a song. It's the Song of Folkvalda, which is a poem that I wrote, a song that I wrote for my book, The Way of Idan. And some of you are not fans, I know, of the songs, and that's okay. You don't have to be. But I love the fact that Ravnskjold was inspired by the poem/song that is in my book to make this wonderful piece. And they're singing in it, and there's some medieval instruments and all kinds of great stuff. So that was a lot of fun for me to hear. To have the book inspire something like that is just amazing. It's amazing to me. So. Also, I released my Why I Love the Tawny Man Trilogy video. basically my way of saying, wow, Robin Hobb is amazing. Robin Hobb is a genius. I love her characters. I love so many things about The Realm of the Elderlings, which was already, a top 3 series for me on the basis of just the first 2 trilogies. And Tawny Man is my favorite trilogy of the 3. I know that it builds on those first 2 trilogies in a lot of ways. And a lot of the impact that Tawny Man has is a result of the character work done, especially in the Farseer trilogy. There's some great stuff also in Liveship Traders. Do not read Tawny Man without reading Liveship Traders. That's my advice. Because there are a lot of things that will have a greater effect on you if you have read the Liveship Traders trilogy before reading Tawny Man. So highly recommend. Plus Liveship Traders is just awesome anyway. So, and what else have I done here on the channel? Well, I think there's more. Yes, indeed, I released a video that I recorded about a year ago with the brothers Gwyn, with Ed and Will. Always wonderful to talk to them, but this was really cool because we got to see what we said a year ago about The Way of Edan. So it's the spoiler chat, though. So if you haven't read The Way of Edan, you probably won't want to watch that one. But as soon as you do read The Way of Edan, check out that chat. It was so much fun for me to hear Ed and Will's reactions. And they had read a draft, which is, the published book has changed a bit in the year since they read that draft. But fundamentally the same story. And they had some wonderful feedback. So it was really quite fascinating for me to go back and see that video a year later. And just always fun to talk to the brothers Gwyn. And I had the privilege of hosting a discussion on Curse of the Mistwraith by Janny Wirtz. That's the first book in the Wars of Light and Shadow. So that was with A.P. Canavan from A Critical Dragon, and Joanna, and Jimmy from the Fantasy Network. And that was a lot of fun. That was a blast. That was a lot of fun. Maybe too much fun. But yes, we have kicked off our read of the Wars of Light and Shadow. We are going to continue reading the books in that series every other month. So 2 months from our first discussion, roughly, we'll be having our next. I think Joanna is going to be hosting the second one, The Ships of Marier. We're going to be covering that. So that will be in June, maybe? I'm not sure. I don't know the date yet. But I'm very excited to be continuing finally in that series. And what is that? Is that all I did on the channel? I think it's close. Oh, wait, one more video. There was the another one that I did, a great discussion with A.P. Canavan, where I had a viewer. Thank you, viewer. I'm not sure you want your name out there, but I'm very grateful to this person for sending me these excerpts that were generated by ChatGPT with the prompt asking it to come up with something like Stephen Erickson's, on the one hand, poem, but also there was a bit of prose. And so we took a look, AP and I, mostly AP, at how close was it to Stephen Erickson's prose. And let's just say I don't think Stephen Erickson will need to retire anytime soon. I do realize that that technology is probably going to change over the next few years, and that ChatGPT will probably be getting better and better at what it does. And I'm not sure that is really what it's designed for anyway. But it was a fascinating look at what it can do. And so, yeah, it was a lot of fun. A lot of fun to discuss that with AP as well. So, elsewhere on YouTube, I was in a discussion of The Farthest Shore by Ursula Le Guin. That's the third book in the Earthsea series, and that was on the channel, Non-Terrestrial Half-Life. And that was with my friends Glenn and Bill. Great discussion. We've been discussing the Earthsea books. We've done the first 3. I think our next discussion is going to be hosted by me, however, because their channel, Non-Terrestrial Half-Life, is all about revisiting books that the two of them read when they were young. And they didn't read Tahanu when they were younger. That is the 4th book in the Earthsea series. So I will be reading Tahanu in the very near future. That's why I have this big book here and discussing it with those two. But yeah, we did The Farthest Shore, and you can find the discussions of the first 2 books as well, Wizard of Earthsea and The Tombs of Atuan, on their channel too. And also, I was very privileged to be included in the Brothers Gwyn roundup of April releases. That was really cool. And also Dominish Books doing something similar. Dominish Books, if you don't know his channel, Dom does a great job of covering especially indie and self-published fantasy. One of the channels out there that really focuses on the indie and self-published stuff. So great channel, and I was very honored to be included in both of those roundup videos by the Brothers Gwyn and Dominish Books. And I also was in a discussion of the second book in the Books of Babel by Josiah Bancroft, The Arm of the Sphinx, that was hosted by none other than Alan from the Library of Alexandria, and that was a great discussion that included Johan from Library of a Viking, and also Ben from Overly Average Ben, and Grace from Grace Dion. So it was a lot of fun. We had a lot of laughs. We had a great time, as you could expect from that group, that cast of characters themselves. So it was a lot of fun to be able to chat with them about a series that I'm really enjoying a lot, by the way. Books of Babel so far, big hit for me. Absolutely great stuff, and I'm looking forward to the next 2 books in the series. And I was in a discussion with Matt on his channel, Matt on Books, and also with Paul Williams, a PhD candidate in fantasy literature. And we were discussing Claw of the Conciliator, the second book in the Book of the New Sun by Gene Wolfe. And I still don't know what's going on in Book of the New Sun. I don't really know what's going on, but it's fascinating, and I'm enjoying the experience, and I'm really enjoying talking with those two about the series. And so, yeah, we'll be continuing with that as well. And, oh, here's one for you guys. Tomorrow, when this video comes out, this will be tomorrow, so Saturday, I will be chatting with Josh over on his channel, Red Fury Books, and a couple other wonderful people. And that is going to be just a get-together chat kind of thing. I think it's at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Red Fury Books. So if you're available and you want to see a live stream with some wonderful people and me as well, then come and check that out. Red Fury Books, Saturday, 11 a.m. And let's see, what else is going on here? Well, what am I reading? Whoa, there's a big pile of books here. This looks much worse than it is, I promise. I'm actually close to halfway through the book That Wouldn't Burn by Mark Lawrence. I'm going to be releasing a dedicated review very soon on the book That Wouldn't Burn, and I cannot express how I don't understand how Mark Lawrence does it. But every time I read one of his books, I just feel like he's got the perfect blend of pacing that keeps me turning the pages, but also he gets me thinking. I don't know how the guy does it, but I find his writing to be the most engaging writing out there. There's never a boring moment for me when I'm reading a Mark Lawrence book, and yet he also gets me to think. And there's a lot of really cool stuff going on in here. I had a chance to talk to Mark Lawrence for Dear Dr. Fantasy, and he told me a little bit about this. And this is, by the way, is an ARC that I got. So it doesn't look like most of the ones, but it is the book That Wouldn't Burn. See, it says it on the side, even though the cover is a little bit different because this is what is it? I guess an ARC, right? It's a pre-publication ARC. So also signed by Mark Lawrence too. Yeah, I mean, the guy can write. I just love it. It's the sweet spot for me. So I'll have a lot to say about this when I finish, and I can't imagine that I'm not going to love what happens in the second half of the book. And as I said earlier, I'm reading the fourth book in the Earthsea series, so not all of this at once. I've already read nearly half of what's in here. So yes, Tahanu, which I have read, it'll be a reread for me. I read Tahanu many, many years ago, and I do remember a lot of the scenes from it because it was very impactful for me, but I am looking forward to reading it again. I'm also actually pretty far into Jade War. I don't normally read more than one book at a time, but life being what it is these days, I just kind of all over the place. So I'm about a third of the way through Jade War, and I will be discussing that one with Jimmy from the Fantasy Network, who, by the way, just read through the entire trilogy in like a day or something. I cannot keep up with Jimmy, no way. But also we're talking with Bookborn and with Taylor from Made Between the Pages about this trilogy by Fonda Lee, the Greenbone Saga. So this is the second book, Jade War. I hosted the first discussion on Jade City. It was a lot of fun. And I am so far enjoying Jade War, maybe not quite as much as I enjoyed Jade City. It's a little more dispersed at the moment. I'll see how Fonda Lee brings things together, and I imagine that it's doing a lot of setting up for the third book, Jade Legacy. That's what I'm thinking, Fonda Lee. I do trust her as an author. I think she is a very talented author, just on the basis of Jade War and what I've read so far in Jade City, that is, and what I've read so far in Jade War. So I'm confident she's going to bring things together. I'm also going to be really, really excited about this, guys. I'm going to be reading The Children of Gods and Fighting Men by Shauna Lawless. Not only am I going to be reading this highly praised fantasy based on Irish myth, but I'm going to be chatting with the author herself, Shauna Lawless, not only about her book, but she's reading The Way of Idan, and we're going to have a discussion together about writing. So we're going to talk about the books, but we're also going to talk about writing, and this is a traditionally published book. Mine is self-published, so we'll be able to compare notes and all kinds of stuff. I'm really excited. I've heard Ed and Will over at the Brothers Gwyn praise this book, and ever since I have been certain that I'm going to enjoy it, so I'm really excited to read it. Also, a book that I neglected to mention in my spring TBR, I didn't have it at the time, but now I have it, thanks to a very dear friend who sent it to me, is Ian C. Esselmont's Forge of the High Mage, which is not out here in the United States. This is why a dear friend of mine had to send it to me, and I'm very thankful for that. This is, of course, the fourth book in the Paths to Ascendancy. And this is Malazan, folks. I am so excited to get back into the Malazan world. I love Esselmont's books. I have read all of his previously published books and have been singing their praises ever since. And I am so excited to see what this is about. And I'm going to be talking about Forge of the High Mage, probably reviewing it myself as well. But I will be in a discussion with AP Canavan over at A Critical Dragon. And I believe also Alex from Books with Banks. And so that is going to be a great Malazan discussion. And I'm excited. I think Esselmont's Paths to Ascendancy sheds so much light on the Malazan Book of the Fallen, on Esselmont's own novels of the Malazan Empire, basically a lot of things. You're like, oh, okay, I understand this person now after reading the prequel stuff. So I'm excited to see which characters I'm going to suddenly see in a different light as a result of what Esselmont is doing in Forge of the High Mage. And I really want to get to A Drowned Kingdom by P.L. Stewart, who is one of the page-chewing crew. You'll see him all the time over on Steve Talks Books and on Taylor's channel, Made Between the Pages. And P.L. is one of the kindest, most wonderful human beings I have ever met. He has been on Dear Dr. Fantasy. And just a fascinating, but from what I've heard, series that he's got going. And the third book is out, I believe, or is out soon. So I need to get going here. I know it's going to be a long series, but I am so looking forward to A Drowned Kingdom. I've heard a lot of great things about it. I think some of the themes in here are really important. So I'm looking forward to giving this a read. And of course, I have to do my buddy reads that I'm in. We don't have a date yet, but continuing with the Books of Babel. The Hod King by Josiah Bancroft. I can't remember who's hosting this one, if it's Ben or Grace, but one of them is going to be hosting this discussion. They're probably all waiting for me to get the book read. I suspect that I'll be last again in finishing, but I'll get there, guys. I will get there. And also, of course, the other buddy read I'm in is Gene Wolfe's Book of the New Sun with Matt and with Paul, and it's the Sword of the Lictor that's going to be coming up there. I don't know exactly when I'll be getting all these read, but I will get there. And of course, Ships of Marrier, which I already mentioned, by Jenny Wirtz. Book 2, In the Wars of Light and Shadow. And this is not as bad as it looks either, because this is actually 2 books. And we're going to read Just Ships of Merior, and we're going to save the War Host of Vastmark for the next get-together. So there it is. Those are all the books. And let's see, what else is going on? Well, I have some episodes of Dear Dr. Fantasy scheduled, and I will be appearing on Page Chewing. Speaking of Page Chewing, I'll be appearing on Page Chewing in early June. Very much looking forward to that. And I will be in a discussion on violence in fantasy. That is going to be hosted by Angela from Do Unicorns Read. And this is something we had been talking about for a while doing, but now it is scheduled. And I'm very much looking forward to being part of that discussion. So that is it from me for now. I wish you all happy reading, and I look forward to engaging with you in the comments. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and until next time.